All right, how's everybody doing? Hope you're all doing all right tonight. Let me get this thing going here. All right, let's see. Oh my gosh, I got too much stuff running. Let me shut this down real quick. My Arc Dev Kit. I just updated my Arc Extreme Kitchen mod if anybody is using that because the Arc Dev Kit was updated, so I added the new kibbles in there. I gotta shut a couple of these things down though. Thanks everybody for hosting. Let's see who we have out there. KW, how you doing this evening? Badzilla, as always, in the house. Thank you so much for your $100 donation, Badzilla. I really appreciate it. I know I didn't get a chance to see how much it was, but that is really awesome. And I'm just going to shut this down. We're going to jump in to Farming Simulator and give you an idea of what's going on. Now, my schedule's changed a little bit for this week. Hope everybody can hear me okay. Everybody hear me all right out there? Big Daddy's hosting, Viper's hosting, Mrs. Izzy ENG is hosting, and I know somebody else was in there as well, but it scrolled off the screen already, I think. But thank you all for the hosts. Uh, so, been working last couple days on getting the map fixed up for you guys. My schedule is slightly going to be different because I'm going away this weekend, and I'm going to do a show on Thursday instead of Wednesday. And Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to continue working on this just a little bit and wrap it up for you guys so we can get it to you Thursday night with all the changes and fixes that we've covered. I think I got most of them nailed down. There are still a couple out there, excuse me, that I have to look at. But also, I'm working on adding. Hey, Kaboomba, thank you for the host as well. I'm looking at adding in some new things as well. First thing I wanted to show you guys is these factories for creating the seed and fertilizer right here have changed to the newer ones. So you can actually pull right up to with either your fertilizer spreader and fill it up. I do want to make a note. I want to see if I can increase the speed on these to fill up a little bit faster. But they're working. So you can see it's filling up the fertilizer in the back of this little fertilizer spreader. All you got to do is pull up underneath it and hit R, and it will fill up. As well as, we'll jump in this one here. You can also go to it with a trailer and back in there, and you'll see the actual settings manual charging. I'm going to make a note to make that in English too for these factories so we can actually read it. All right, because I just put these in, so we're kind of testing them today with you guys. So it has a manual. If I can get to automatic filling, you just have to jump out and hit the R key, and then it will automatic fill whatever you back up underneath there, which you can see it's filling up some fertilizer right now in the trailer as well. So that's going to be kind of cool that you won't have to scoop it up. You'll be able to pull under it with the fertilizer spreader or with a truck like this one with a tipper and fill it up as well and bring it off to wherever you go. Andy's version is already in English. Well, that's nice. Mine is not, but it will be. So that is built into the map. And then we also updated the ones on the other side as well. But over here we have the seed company, which is pretty much the same thing. Now, when you do your update, you don't have to do a thing with your map. This little piece here was left behind because it was not actually in the factory. Uh, and the factory is full, so they dumped it on the side of it. But anything that is in the piles currently for your seed and fertilizer maker will automatically end up inside, as long as you didn't move it out of the pile, inside the new one. It's just replacing the triggers so you'll be able to pull up underneath and offload them. And in addition, this is important for you guys because there's a new one and you're going to need to do a little prep work. As you can see, actually these guys already, I did not do it here, but the this field used to be all trees. These guys cut them out. So you're going to have some trees right here where this one pops in, and you're going to have some grass. So if you want to prepare for the update that's coming on Thursday, you're going to want to go to, let me grab one. We'll show you. You're going to want to grab a tractor. I don't want the T9. I want something a little bit smaller. This one here should work. And grab yourself the roller. I believe it's under miscellaneous that removes, restores the ground state to its original state. And you're just going to want to go over to this area. We'll grab it right now. We'll do it here. Before, it'll be a lot easier before the update to do it. I don't know if we can do it after the update and get all the grass out with the building in there, but we'll find out. We'll bring this over and give it a whirl. So that new factory across the street allows you to take the fertilizer from the one and bring it over, dump fertilizer in, and add water, and it will create liquid fertilizer as well. So you'll have a way to create liquid fertilizer. Gonna have to see if we can get Big Daddy to work on doing a trailer that can haul liquid fertilizer, but we'll need dispensers for that and everything as well. We'll work on something in the future to have liquid fertilizer available on your farms. It's not done yet, but it's getting there. You can just edit the work with, whoa, I'm looking, I just hit a guy. Sorry, mister, didn't mean to run into you. Uh, the work width of the roller, yeah, you could, so you run down the side of it and it goes underneath the building. Yeah, you could do that too. But anyhow, we don't, for now, you can pull any of the liquid spreaders underneath, including the big New Holland on wheels there. You can pull it up underneath the spout and fill it directly with liquid fertilizer. After the update on Thursday, because I don't think I'll have time to get to it before then, but we'll work on adding in the some fertilizer storage for the liquid fertilizer on the on the farms. Yep, I just killed the guy. So we'll bring this roller over and see how that works. And I'll show you where the other one on the other side is going to be too, so you guys can get ready for it. The addition won't cause any problems. This is our save game from last week, I think, on the server. So it took the update just fine. And if you prepare and clear the little area underneath there, you'll have the nice dirt slab showing, as I'll show you in a minute. I should have got a faster tractor, but you know, that's the way it goes. Really need to get that teleport mod working so I could just jump right there, but I know why it's not working, because I think it's a RAR file instead of a zip file, I noticed the other day, and I just have to redo it, and then my teleport should work. But it's getting there. Still waiting to get more fill types would be nice, so we can add some factories and stuff into the map, but we'll just keep doing little things here and there. And for the most part, wanted to get the fixes in for you guys, get it all done, so any of those little issues, silo issues, the train issues, any of those things that we talked about the other day will be fixed. Now I know I started early, but you'll get the idea. You just run around this side of the road. You'll probably, if you haven't cut the trees over here, you'll have some trees here that you might want to cut out in this area, or they'll be going up through the building. But there is a dirt slab underneath the building that will appear after the update. You'll have grass if you do it before the update, but after the update, Let's see if we could do it right on top of this. Yeah, you can go on this part, so it's not going to be too bad. You'll be able to clean up most of it with the roller, even if you don't do it ahead of time and you wait. But it'll be much easier to do it. You won't be able to get like inside that bin there in those areas, so it'll look better if you clean this up before I do the update. I'm not going to spend all day doing this because I don't have to. I want to get through some of the other changes and then see if we can work on another little project that I want to get in the map before the update on Thursday for you guys. So, you get the idea. It is directly across from the other factory that's closest to the tunnel. You see the tunnels right there? In between the same two light posts, and you want to go back a little ways and clear out this whole area so that it will be, yeah, it's not too far back, but I'm stuck. Okay. Good time to exit that one, and let's go over to the other farm and show you where the other one's going to be, because you might have to do some prep work for that one too. Just a little bit. Let's see. Is Big D just going to let a trailer haul it, or a totally different trailer? If you're talking about the liquid fertilizer, we'd have to add it into a modded trailer. So we shall see what we do with that. We also would need a place to store it too. So until then, we're kind of stuck a little bit with. We'll get to that afterwards. Right now, you'll have to fill up at it directly if you want with the liquid fertilizer. So this one here, just go to the little seed company that's right up here on the hill, and off the side, I didn't extend the platform at all, but just off the side in this little grass area is the other one. So you want to bring the grass back a little bit, just clear out that grass before it comes in, make your life easy. And just on the side of this tree, so anything from this side of the tree, if you're looking at it here, to the right of the tree and just back, oh, a little ways, about a truck length, maybe a little bit more, should be fine. And then you won't have the grass on that one. Let's see if I can find a couple other things here. I don't know if I have any lavender planted on the map currently. If I do, it's on 51 and 53. So let's see if I can head over there. That's the animal dealer. Yeah, we'll jump there. See if that's, where is 51? 51 is close, the other direction. I want to see if I have some lavender. I did some work on it today as well to get that final growth stage texture correct. And it seems to be working pretty good, but there you can see some lavender in the distance. Definitely is lavender. What stage it's in, I don't know, but we're going to find out in a minute. Thank you there for the follow, Farmer Don 13. All right, here we have the peanuts. Now, I'm going to just double check, make sure I didn't mess up anything with the peanuts. Peanuts are right here on 52, and they are ready to harvest, and you notice that the remove tops is not there anymore. So that should be fine. You won't have that remove tops pop up like it was in the past. The peanuts should be good to go before it had remove tops popping up on the first stage. So the lavender looks good. Now we gotta test out the harvesting. I'm gonna just buy some equipment here real quick rather than look for it. Da 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 forage harvester, because this is just a test map anyway. And the new header, which we have a colored one. I'm going to try to get that up there for you guys as well. This is not it. I didn't install it yet on my offline game, but it's colored so that you can recognize it a little bit easier from the original header. And let's see. Joskin will use this thing because I don't know why. I know it works. Yes, exclamation point presence will get you the copy of the map if you missed the last few shows. We'll get you. I'm going to move that into the other folder. The update will be in the mods folder that's linked down below after, on Thursday. And every version after that will be as well when it becomes ready. So it'll be much easier. You won't have to remember exclamation point presence after that. But the update will be coming on Thursday. I'm going to try to wrap it up tonight and then get it onto our server for some final testing, and then we'll have it ready for Thursday's show. Give us a little time to test it before we get it out, make sure everything's right. Plus, I got so much I got to do on Wednesday. Let me see. I want to go to field number. I don't even know where it is. 50. So we're going to go outside and south. Let me head that way. You wish you could get the game. Well, we wish you could get the game too. And if I look off to the screen, I'll crash into everything. So it will continue. I just can't wait. I cannot wait until we get our fill types increased so we can get some more stuff in here. But there are definitely a few smaller things that we can work on to make it a little bit better until then. I still haven't gone through and put a lot of the decorative objects on the map either, which I wanted to get in. Just the basics are there right now. I am going to head this direction, and I need to go actually up there to get to the road to get around. Oh, let's check out real quick because I can. You should be able to now as well on this silo. Let's see what we have here. Hay, grass, and straw silage, total mixed ration are all added into this silo as well. And let's just test real quick and make sure. I, if it doesn't dump, I'll dump it on the ground. But it should now also be able to be taken in. I have not tested it yet, but if I did everything right, yeah, you can put it right back in. So all that will go into the silo down at the cow farm now. So you can store your TMR and everything else right there, right on site. Sapper509, thank you for the follow. I'm going to head over and we're going to test that lavender one last time and make sure that the texture for cutting it is actually right and not all messed up like it has been. But I need to head this direction. Anybody has any questions they want to get out there, just throw them up there in chat. We will try to answer them. Or if you found anything else that we didn't cover the other night. Speaking of which, if you used the menu to tab into the chicken farm, you ended up inside the house that's on the main farm. If you tried to use the little menu to go to the chickens, that has been fixed as well. You'll actually end up in the chicken coop rather than inside that house on the main farm. Didn't move the marker there when I moved the chicken farm, and that's why that was happening. But that will be fixed as well. The map is looking great. It is a bit of a challenge if one's used to just cutting across country to get. Yeah, I wanted it to be a little bit, you know, that was my whole intention is to give you actually a layout of roads and you make it so you just couldn't go from A to B without jumping on one of the highways or something. And I think it worked out pretty well. It's not there's not too many. Just getting from the inside to the outside is one of the there's I think 4 or 5 entrances to the outside unless you go up over the top of a mountain. It's great and it's not going to be done. Hopefully it won't be done for a while. We'll just keep on adding and get it out as we can, and if it doesn't cause you guys to restart your current games, we'll push it out right away. If it does, then we'll let you know. But I'm going to hire a worker and just because it's easier. And if everything is working well, you'll see there you go. Now we have a cut texture rather than the other texture that was there for our lavender. So that's working well as well. And you'll be able to harvest up your lavender. And it won't look funny after you cut it. So everything there is looking good. So what's left before this release? What I want to do is I want to work on that. We started it a while ago. I wanted to work on that solution for fuel at the main farms, at each of the farms that has a BGA where we can create our fuel from silage. And it still isn't going to work exactly how I want, but it'll be pretty close. So we're going to go ahead and do that tonight and see if we can get one of them up and running with the new triggers. And then we'll hopefully get that in for the next update as well. So there you go. Lavender's looking better. It actually looks like it's cut rather than that weird. I don't know what that funky thing was. It looked like somebody said, it looked like every texture on the map was showing up for the final stage when it was cut. All right. The train, actually, we can do that too. We'll take a haul over to that one station that wasn't taking lavender the other day. Actually, I know it works, but we'd have to put this on the train. But anyhow, we can bring this over and just test it. It should work. I didn't test it, but I found what I think was the problem. You like the map? You prefer that you need to haul things and just can't cut across anywhere? Bigger fields than what you I put in, but it seems you anticipated that maybe so they can be plowed together pretty easy. Yeah, a lot of the fields can be plowed together pretty easily if you want bigger fields. And there are a lot of areas that you could just plow, but we have hopefully a lot of factories coming in too, so that's why you'll see a lot of open areas still. And when the factories, once we get past that 64 fill types and we start bringing in all the factories, that's going to be a pretty major update. Uh, and a lot might change, and you may have to either do lots of preparation or restart the game at that point. But you guys, it looks like it's going to be a while before we get to that point. So you'll probably be ready to restart by then. Let's see if I can bring this over to that station that is up by. Well, we can drop it in anyone, but also I do want to figure out a way to label the railroads. I might do it. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet. I will definitely probably the smartest way is wait till the map is done and then do it on the mini map with colors for each of the lines. But for now, it's a guessing. I know how I do it. If you jump out of the vehicle. Like right now, if I was to jump out of this vehicle and hit shift tab, oops, it'll go to the trains back to front, and the last train is train number 3, actually, that goes from, basically, where am I know where it goes. Train number 3 goes across from the west side down across the south and to the east side. Uh, and then shift tab back one more. Train 2 goes to the inside but off to the east side. So you can kind of get used to it. And this is the one on the north side, train 1. So that's how I remember it. They're in order. They actually don't move in their order, but it will make it a little bit easier if we figure another way to mark them up. Yep. Do I chance to fix a train station by the pig farm not accepting mustard and millet? Train station by the pig farm should take everything now. I didn't test the mustard and millet, but what I'll tell you what they were doing. They were still, the original train stations were still linked, some of them directly to the default XML file rather than the one that was in the map. And just changing that made it pick up all the extra products. So they should all be working just fine now. And hopefully, wood chips had to be added in as a fill type, but yeah, all those products that weren't taken should be okay now that all the triggers are going. Is there a roller that makes things into standard dirt? Would it be possible to make a mod that makes a gravel area? Actually, the roller doesn't make everything into standard dirt. The roller makes it go back to whatever the texture was that is original to the map. And because I'm changing the map still, I put the dirt down myself, but the grass isn't removed, so the roller will remove the grass. It doesn't actually put dirt there. I put the dirt there ahead of time. And man, if we could make a roller that could put down the under textures, that would be cool. We'd be able to put on in our own roads and stuff. But currently, it just returns it to whatever texture was there previously. So if grass is the underlying texture, you get grass back. If it's gravel underneath, you'd get the gravel. And I'm changing the underlying texture between the updates. You're just clearing the grass out so it shows whatever I put in there. Exactly. The roller reverts it to the bottom texture. No, no problem. Everybody has to start somewhere, and it this year it's a little bit more complicated than it has been in the past too. As you can see, a lot of people are not coming. I don't know what the deal is. There's some good stuff coming out, but it seems like it's going a little bit slower. I mean, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm in more of a hurry. I wanted to get a lot of this done before Cattle and Crops came out so we could check that out. But that's getting closer by the day too, unless they delay it. So I'm going to put this in here if I can. I'm going to have to drop the header. I don't think we're going to get in there with that head on there. And see if I can dump this trailer in here and then see if we could pick it up with the train and dump it back in. Because that was what it wasn't doing. It wasn't going in with the train. So, stop there. Offload. And I believe this will be train number 1, if I'm right. So, 3, 2, 1. Let's go find out. I gotta speed up my train. Now, someone was asking me as well on the vehicle group switcher. We can do a quick demo on some of the features. They've seen me use it, but they haven't really done much with it themselves. So we can definitely show how that works in a couple minutes. There's the station that we want to load. If I could slow down fast enough, I can't tell you how many times I've run past stations. Alright, so we should be able to load it now. Let's see. Lavender is loading. Once we have it, we'll do the unload. See if it goes back in. So unload. And it does. So that's all fixed. All the train silos should be fixed just fine. Missing gold nuggets. Let me mark the gold nuggets down. I'll get that done as well. We'll check out all the gold nuggets before the update. And it's on my list. So I will take care of those because that should be pretty easy. Make sure they're all done. Which level did I buy into? Which level what did I buy into? Oh, on the... it's funny because I see these messages. You guys are on a little bit of delay, and then I see the messages come up, and it's like, we're way past that topic. But and Fithin, thank you for the host as well. The cattle and crops, I just did the basic. At the time, bank account was empty, so I just got the basic regular with the just the standard package that gives me the early access. That's all. Where do you sell boards? You can sell boards anywhere you can sell lumber on the map. So at the lumber yards you can sell your boards. Just so you guys know too, which we never really covered, the lumber mills on this map that we're using are a modded version that also output small individual boards. If you're using that on somebody else's map, you may think why that ours is not working. But the reason why we took it out is because on a server, those boards would float around and they wouldn't shut off. And it literally was the cause of our server bogging down completely. So they weren't very server friendly because the boards were too light. So the big, uh, the big lumber mills on this map have the little boards removed for now because of the issues they caused when they were on a server. All right, let's see if there's anything else here. All right, so with the vehicle group switcher, which we did having loaded up, you can basically hit Control E and then you can move left control, that is. Then you can move your vehicle into any group, the vehicle you're in. Just by hitting the up and down arrows, you can see I can move this to any group. And you can see there are a ton of them that are unassigned. So if you tab to another vehicle, eventually, most of those unassigned ones are actually conveyors, I realize. But there is the Dude Agristar and the Crone that I bought. And you can just highlight whatever vehicle you want to move and then move it into another group. Now, if you want to name the groups, you just hold the left control and whatever number group you want to change. So, for instance, group 4 doesn't have a name. I can hold down left control and 4 and it'll pop up and you can give it the farm name that you want. Let's see. And now you'll see it pop up in the group 4. Name me. So that's how that works. It's pretty simple. Then to switch between groups is just the left control and the number of group you want. And you just keep hitting that. It'll only go through the vehicles in that group. So if I go to left control 2, I can tab through group 2, left control, and then just tab through group 3 and group 4. Simple as that. Now that I lost my pickup truck, all right. So I'm gonna just head up the hill over here real quick, and we'll check out this place up here. That is what we're gonna work on. We are gonna be able to make fuel, and that's what I'm gonna do very shortly. I'm gonna work on that little addition to the map once in just a few minutes. The only thing right now is questionable is if we'll be able to load the fuel directly from the tank or if it has to go in a tanker first. And currently, I think it might have to go in a tanker first. So this is the sawmill I was talking about. You can see it outputs the pallets just fine, but this mod originally had it so it outputs single boards on this area right here. So if you're using it in another map and you have single boards here, uh, it'll work, but what happens is they float around too much on the server and then they end up piling up all over on the ground and it never shuts off. It's supposed to shut off like after 3 boards are dropped on. And on single player it does it fine. But because they jump off the little rail here and end up on the ground, you'll end up with hundreds of boards on a server and then your server, anybody that came up here on the hill or even got close to where the boards were loading in ended up dropping to like 5 frames a second. There were so many boards on it. So we took it off, and that's why it's not there until maybe in the future if we can get it to work a little bit better. Uh, make soybeans part of making fuel since it is prime. Right now, fuel is going to be just using the silage pits at the farms, and it'll make plenty. So let's get into what we were working on with the fuel, because that is the next step I want to get in there before the update. So, where we left off, once this closes down, you know how that is. I get to take a long break because it takes forever. Can you change the capacity in the silos? Which silos are you talking about? If you're talking about the standard silos on each of the farms, you have the placeables that can be added to them to increase the capacity. And you can add quite a few of them as well. So that's how you can increase your capacity at the farms by buying those placeable silos and putting them on there. Yep, that's all you got to do. That's why we left it that way, actually, if we can get out of here. Let me do what I always do to get out of this. I know it's bad thing, but end task. I'll jump in and show you. We'll start up one more time. This yeah, the on servers they have an issue the silos. That is for sure. I don't know if it's still that way. They need to fix it. But single player they've been working fine for me. The silage hoppers need to be increased for sure once we start modding 200k buckets. Silage hoppers? Oh, there's enough BGAs on this map that you shouldn't need to do much with the here. Let me go to game 7. Yeah, they are that way for a reason. So you don't make all your money just doing silage, you see? That's the way I work. Some areas don't have a lot of space to add placeables. You think the main farm is one of them. Yeah, the silo right now works in single player. We're gonna have to. I'm waiting on it. The game still. We still need to get an update and see if they can fix that, or at least hear from Giants and see what the heck the deal is with that. The two errors in the particle system. Two of the i3D file paths were wrong. Unloading windrow diffuse and slurry tank diffuse. That's interesting. I'll take a look, but I haven't seen that. We'll check it out. All right. So at the main farm, if you're offline, you can actually don't pay attention. Yeah, don't pay attention to the building I dropped in the parking lot for testing there. It's not going to be there. You should be able to put in quite a few of the silo expansions. And we can work on bigger ones eventually too. But and hopefully Giants will fix it. I mean, I hate doing changes to the game when it's actually a bug that Giants has to fix, work around just to have to undo it after. So I'm kind of hoping they get this fixed so it works in multiplayer. Let me see if I can get this to drop where I want it to now. Interesting thing about these two is you can put them quite a ways away if you wanted to. As you could see, if I wanted to put a couple silos across the street to expand it, I could do that as well. Or off in a corner. I'll just give you an idea. So if we go back now to our farm and grab our tipper, at least in single player, we should have a pretty darn good size capacity on them silos now. And I will look at making another silo type that will give you a larger capacity upgrade than just like a 500,000 one or something along that line, so you can just put one larger silo. Uh, yeah, I am Groot. Thank you for the follow. So if we go over here now, I don't know how many of these things we added. We started at 300,000 capacity and we're up to 700, so we added quite a few. Or no, this one might have been 100,000 capacity, but it'll hold 700,000 now. We just gotta hope the Giants gets it fixed so it'll actually work on servers correctly. Let's get out of here now. Go back to the project we were working on. Yeah, the placeables can go pretty far away on the map. I increased the range on them so that they can go quite a ways away from where the original place is, and they work pretty good. Yeah, they don't always go that far away on all the maps, but I increased the range of them so that they can get out there a little bit further. All right, I am gonna do what nobody should do, but I'm not saving my game really. So I want to get on with this show rather than sit here. All right. So if you remember, we had, if I can find it here, a fuel tank. It's up over on my other screen that we were working on quite a while ago. Let me see if I can open it up and see what it looks like. And I'm going to fly over to wherever it is. Where are you, fuel tank? Let's go right to the player trigger. There it is. It doesn't quite look like what I had thought it was supposed to look like. Did I lose half of it? What is... Interesting. Well, we're going to do it from scratch then, because we can. Alright, we're going to jump into the map with Pleasant Valley, and we're going to do what I wanted to do with the new triggers, and we should be able to pull it off this time. So, apparently I didn't save the whole fuel thing correctly when I saved it. I didn't export all the pieces I needed. But we want to be able to create fuel. Alt F4 has the same effect. Yes, it does. Hey, Thomas. 112776. How you doing? All right. So, here's the deal. We want to make it so each of our farms has an additional dump spot where this Silo King is, where we can actually use a second one to create fuel. And the way we're going to do this is, if I can get the Silo King visible object selected, let's see. There it is with the display and everything. I'm going to duplicate one of those. Well, edit, copy, and then I'm just going to paste it down at the bottom. And I'm going to bring it over here for now. Left control B, click. And what I want to do is I want to have two of these. Not necessarily where that one is. Let me see. I think I'll put it off this side. We'll clear out a path and whatever we need to when we get to the point. But it's going to kind of go off to the side where you can create fuel using this one. We'll have to add a fuel tank too. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to grab the refinery, the placeable refinery, which I downloaded that you guys saw, but I'm going to take that whole thing right now and copy it into my PV17 models folder and paste it in there. Refinery placeable. And then I'm going to load it into the game by selecting the i3D file because it has everything I need. So our refinery is right here. And I'm going to bring it over and see if we can work this thing out. It's big. We don't want something that big. Although the refinery is cool and all, I don't want to have a huge refinery. I want the triggers, several of them. Here, let's stick it over in the field right here so we can work with it. So I'm going to strip this thing down and take out the main building and say goodbye. And let's see what else. We have 3 displays, but we're going to need just one input trigger. So I'm just going to highlight it, see what else we have here. We won't need the night lights. We'll pull those out. We're getting down there. Let's get rid of the night lights. Not what she said exactly. Night lights. Did I just delete the whole refinery? No. Okay. Input triggers. We want one input, which is right here. And that I'm going to grab the Silo King and put it right into this group for now. Just because it will make everything a lot easier to move around later when we put them on all the different farms. We're going to have several of them. Close it. So we're going to cut this one out. And we're going to put it into the refinery group. And paste that into there. All right, now if I go to that piece and I just hit all these back to 0, it should put it right in close to the center of the group, I believe. There you go, close enough. And then we can start moving some of these other things. So we have an input trigger. Uh, we have a shovel target and a tip trigger for input, and we will move those over to where we want. Let's grab the first trigger. That's everything right there. We're going to just slide that over. Resize some things as we need it, but I don't know if we're going to go with all those pieces. I have to see how we're going to work this out. We have the shovel target right here. And ideally, we can bring that shovel target and bring it so that it's going to be a little bit closer to the size of the top of the bucket that we're going to be putting it in, so that when we dump our shovel, it will hit this target. Let's bring it a little bit smaller. That's about right there. Don't want to bump shovel target, you can bump into pretty easily, so we don't want to make it so that even though it's invisible, you're bumping into it. So we make sure it's pretty close to the edge of the thing. We can leave the tip trigger as well. Let me highlight that. But I want to remove the heap from the tip trigger. I think. Do I want to leave the heap? I don't think I want the heap to be in there. So if I remove the heap, and thank you Smoking Taco for the follow. Now we have a tip trigger on the input. The question is, do we want to be able to just pull up to this thing and tip stuff into it? Which I guess we can leave it in there for now. Slow editor. Let's go. Here's our tip trigger. It's awful big again. We don't want it that big, so let's scale it down to the size of our little box. 1.5 height, and all right, so we have a tip trigger in front of our thing. You can dump anything, any load of silage in there as well, and it will register. So Rostov 1 is our input trigger. We are going to make it so all the values are correct. And it is already silage, name tip silage, factor 1, capacity 50,000. That will work. The displays for that trigger are going to be everywhere. I am only going to want one display. I don't know where the heck those other displays are. Let's see if I can find it. Over here there's one. There's 4 displays here in the displays. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to have to figure out which one's displaying which. I know that that one there is going to be our silage in, but one of these 3 is also going to be our fuel total. So we'll figure out that when we get there. Output triggers. We're going to check out the output triggers. Output 1. Actually, this will tell me right here which one we want and which one we don't. I'm not going to have this one create digest date, so output 1 right there is going to go bye-bye. Delete that. And output 2 I have to rename to output 1. Once it lets me. Now, interestingly enough, there we go. Output 1 has our liquid trigger, overload pipe, okay, and the display for output 1. So the only other display that we don't need I'm not going to use the side display here at all, wherever it is. And I'm not going to use this here either. We're going to take this one, which is our liquid manure, and let's see, let's get rid of that for now. I'm just checking things out here. So we have the output one. Make sure I don't get rid of anything that I need, or I'll have to load it back in and grab it again, but that's no big deal. How is the bank extension mod coming? I don't know. That is really Big Daddy's deal. So whatever he's doing with that, I have no idea how far he's gotten with it. All right, so the displays that are extra, where are they? I see the point. Little digital display, we're getting rid of those numbers. It takes a little while with the editor nowadays to get through things here. It's slow. Where is that display showing up? Nowhere? Doesn't look like it, so that one's gonna go bye-bye. I'm just gonna go with just a basic display next to the bin over there, and then I'm gonna make one, a fuel tank one, that we can load up fuel from. So this one here is not needed, if I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'll have to figure it out. But we should just have the in trigger display, which should be the last one right by the red bin, the Silo King. Which it doesn't appear to be. Come on, is there something here? I guess we have to put some numbers on that afterwards. That was the one that came with the Silo King. So I don't see the display. Output trigger 1 display. We can copy the other one from the output trigger 1, which would be just fine. Copy that one. And I'm going to replace this one here. Actually with this one right here. That's what we need to do. All right. So that should have the proper display for that trigger. All right, only stuff I come across. Let's see. Did I miss something? Do I want bug reports? Yeah, you can send bug reports along. It never hurts. And yeah, you can send them to the forum. That would work. So this is the display we're going to use. For the thing, and there's something underground over there. I have no idea what. Must be additional displays. But let's just get it close for now and see what we have. So this will tell us how much we dumped in there. It's in the right group, the input. There's some extra numbers floating. These two sets are the ones that go on that digital board, so we can get rid of those. That set there. We just don't want to get rid of the other one this time. Did I fix the Brown Station cell point? What was wrong with the Brown Station? So all the train stations should be working as intended now, with any luck. Let's see. Silo King weight display is going out of there. We're going to use this one. And yeah, this map cannot be on console. They won't allow 4x maps. They won't allow additional crop types. And they won't allow something else. So it means it won't be available on console. Unfortunately, consoles are awful limited. It won't allow additional scripts, so all these extra things that we're putting in won't run. The thing I'm making right now wouldn't run at all on the consoles either. So my advice to you is get a PC version because you can do so much more with them. When you try to refuel the train wagon that has coverage, does not appear to you. You can't refuel the train wagons. They don't require fuel. So that I don't know exactly what you're trying to do. The train wagons, the trains don't need fuel. So I'm not exactly sure. All right, so we're down to what we need to create this stuff. I'm going to grab my new refinery real quick here and bring it over to where I want it, which is pretty much. We'll also see if anything's left behind that is invisible. And then we got to check all the indexes and make sure they line up correctly and we didn't delete it. All right, so see there's still the trigger and stuff over here. That is the player trigger, which I believe we need. I'm going to bring it up over here for now. I don't want to remove it if it's a necessary thing. I think that's what brings up the display. Who knows if this is going to work when I'm done? Not even I. It will eventually, but how much work I got to put into it is another question. I may have to bring that digital display back. Uh, Not refuel, it's fill then with some crop. All the all of the stuff for the crops and everything should be working just fine after this update. I did a lot of work on the different train stations. Some things weren't working, some were. So we'll have to give it a whirl and see what happens. I am going to, for now, because I think that I'm going to just hide that underground so you can't see it. I don't know if it's needed. Farmer's Commodore 64. And it's 64K RAM. Yeah, that's working really well. All right. We're going to have to do some checking, make sure all the indexes are working just fine, and move. Let me now grab my refinery and see what we get. And I'm going to need to get a fuel tank somewhere so we have a place to fill up fuel. All right, so those are the pieces. There are still a couple floating pieces that I have to move if they're above ground over there, but I want to get this over and see what we have to work with. Before I get too far and see how it works. Let's bring it and slide it into place. If it works, I will clear some area, new path and stuff. But I'm not going to get too crazy until I know it works. And I just end up having to go back and do, whoops, wrong button. Wrong axis there. So we know that over here is the fuel fill trigger, over there is the silo king. Let's check some indexes. The area is 4. So off of the refinery group, we got to count down. I'm going to close these up. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is correct. The area is 4. And that start index is the whole area information. Let's go back up to the top and just make sure all your indexes point to where they're supposed to. Because we deleted a lot of things, and the player index would be 2. So 0, 1, 2, that's the player trigger. That is correct. Work animation index is 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. Now we do have work animation particle systems. Animations, I'm going to check. There's a sound thing. You want to have the individual parts, but with this, I'm going to delete the light. I'm going to delete the work animations. We don't need those on this type of bin. I know what that animation was. Yeah, and we can delete this displays as well. You got to leave the main categories usually, and if it doesn't find anything in them, it usually won't cause an error. So when it's working, it would turn these displays on, but we're not going to have those. come on back, these two additional displays. So we'll remove those. And we'll go right down. I think that was all the indexes, the main indexes. Output index is 1, so 0, 1 is correct. Input index is 0. So then I'll just go down to the input trigger index, make sure that if it has any fields, production is 20,000 per hour. We want to check each of these. They should be all fine from here. This one has a fact, all right, yeah, capacity 50,000. That's good. And I'm pretty sure that that's all. I don't think there's a lot. Oh, let's see. Our tip trigger has a movement scale, which we don't need because, well, we removed the moving plane out of here. Move max amount. So I'm going to remove those. Hopefully it works when we're done. Move max, move min, move scale, moving index, not move back. And we'll just leave the trigger information. Then we'll go down to the output trigger. It's going to do fuel at a factor of point. I'm going to lower that because you'll get so much fuel out of this. It's ridiculous. Holds 200,000 fuel at a factor of 0.4. So for every 100,000 silage, you get 40,000 fuel. And I'm going to remove the moving index information, but we're going to keep the trigger and the name and the trigger width. That is good. And everything else looks like it is done. So we have a refinery. I'm going to bring in a fuel tank to put next to that. We'll move that box later with this one here if everything works okay, but we're going to test it out and see what happens. I already have the fabric script installed, so it should pick it right up. And if this works, then I'll be amazed. No. You never know. So we'll save it, then we'll jump in game and see if we're getting any errors. And so I don't think I have ever done anything like this without having to stop and fix something. So we shall see what happens. I do know one thing that we have to do before we load up, though. Once we're saved here. All right, we're going to minimize that. And in our Pleasant Valley folder, PV17 models and the refinery, you'll see the mod description file for the refinery, which isn't needed in here anymore. But if we open it up, what we do need to have is the extra texts from the L10N section if they're not in our map already. So let me see if I have the mod description open. We have additional trigger information. And we'll grab the refinery section here so we have the texts and put that into my map. Some of them aren't being used because we removed the triggers, but for now I'm just going to put the whole refinery in there so we don't get errors. And this is where we're going to change the text eventually. Remember how we said it wasn't showing up in English for some of these? Like actual is spelled wrong right here. All I got to do is fix it. There we go. And we can change what the different things say. Thank you there for the host, the Silent One 1995. So once we have those additional refinery and additional triggers, and is there any other thing? The fabric script is already in there. I already have the fabric script L10N stuff. The store item information, all that is not needed. We already have the fabric script and the additional triggers Lua in my mod description over here as well, because we're running so many things with them. You'll see them right there and right there. So that is done. Extra files that are not needed in my map are the mod description and the refinery XML. We don't need the zipped version of it either that I put in there. So we'll leave everything else. It doesn't exist. No, we don't need to keep it in editor. Okay. And let's run this game and see what happens on a new, well, on our save game. It should work fine. I think we'll have some stuff on the save game that we can test it with. So all right. Let's jump back into save game 7 and see what happens. Now, at this currently, this update manual will not or Manu, is it Manu? Yeah, will not require you to restart over at all. You'll be able to continue on your game. With the new features and all the fixes. So we'll load up, unless it crashes right now, then if it did, then I know this wouldn't work. But this is a current save game that we've been working on, that I've been testing on, and making the changes, and everything's still coming up just fine. And let's jump to farm. That's my farm. I don't want that one. Is it? Nope, not that one. Is it 4? Is that the one we're working on? I don't know where we are. This one has 2 bunkers over there, so let's see. This is the one we're working on. And that's the fuel display. And that is the other display. So do they have any silage over here that we can grab for now? Nothing here. Let me grab. I know there's some on the map somewhere. I know that on. We'll just take a drive because I know that one of these farms has to have some in a silo or in a bunker. We'll just head up to this one over here. Find some stuff. Yeah, eventually when we get into adding more crop types and more factories, it'll probably be advised to do a new save game, but currently everything I've done doesn't require additional save games, so or doesn't require you to start over. You can just continue on and have all the new features. So you should be good to go. Let's see if we have any silage on this farm. I don't know if we do. There's a bunker over there. It's covered. Is it almost ready? Is it ready? Let's see. 14%. Not quite. Let's go to my farm. I know I had some over there in the silo. It's just that this is my truck and my farm's on the other side of the world, so gonna be a little bit of a drive, but not a big deal. How long till buildable buildings? Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know if it'll even be possible this time around. Uh, in order to do them, we need a completely working version of the universal process kit, and that looks like it's or something similar to come along. And currently, that is non-existent. Will not work in multiplayer. So buildables might not be possible in FS17. Unfortunately, unless something goes, we'll just keep an eye out. You never know what. That's the thing. I never know if those features can come back or not until. Actually, I want to go the other way. Until the modders get those things working, and I'm not looking too optimistic on the universal process kit right now. Factories themselves, the fabric script is here, so we'll get something going with for factories if we get the extra fill types, which we don't have yet either. So it's really up in the air. We'll see what people come up with and do what we can as we can get it. That's all we can do. I know it's a long way to go before we get to PV15 version 2 or PV Rivers from last year, but if you think about it, the the final versions of those were probably well into a year with this program being out when we get to that point. So the we had a original version of PV15 that had the very basics in it and some of the additional things, but really didn't have the factories and stuff until version 2 came out. I don't think we had that many of them. We had some, well, we had the buyable object script, so we were able to do some stuff with that. But so much has changed this time around that I don't know where it's going to go, to tell you the truth. We just will keep going until and use what comes out. I'm not expecting the same type of map as last time, but we should get some pretty awesome content depending on the way the modders go. And I have a feeling that the factories and stuff will come along. Well, once we break that 64 fill type, we can do a lot of stuff with the fabric script and add some new because the fabric script can create pallets, it can do lots of things this time around. It can't make buildable factories, but it can definitely do a lot of stuff. Place sign on Dan's farm saying dump manure here. Yeah. I like the fact that you can customize the map yourself a little bit this time too. So we'll look into more of that. I'd like to be able to use the extensions, like the extendable silos and stuff, to extend factories and different things down the road, but who knows how that's going to work out. Right now, they don't even work on multiplayer. So Giants has to get in gear and get a couple updates or get some stuff fixed. Because if this is how it is right now, we're in a lot of hurt. Everybody will want to go back to 15. But we'll see. Stuff is trickling out. We get those breakthroughs where a lot of stuff comes out all at once and then it stalls because the other stuff isn't quite there yet. Silage, please. Not in this next update. We're not probably not going to have because the next update's on Thursday. This fuel and testing, this will be up on our server tomorrow, and we're going to be testing everything on here on server and make sure it's all working well. Uh, and then the stop milk sale, really, if I had a reason to use milk somewhere else, then I would have it in there. But right now we can't make any extra products. That's why I haven't really bothered with it yet. I can make it so you could sell it eventually, but I'm not. It's we'll get it in there. I'd. It's one of those things. Why do something now when we might have to change it later when we get all those extra possibilities? I hate doing stuff like altering stuff with the time it takes just to find out that I got to pull it out and do something different. I'd rather do stuff I know isn't going to have to change currently and go to cattle and crops. I can't wait to see what they have and see what kind of map editor cattle and crops comes out with. That's a big key. I mean, yeah, they say modding will be easier, but a lot of times uh, when people say modding's going to be easier or modding is going to be available, very often they don't include the maps themselves. I mean, Farm Expert making a map would be a horrendous task with that editor. It could be done, but not by me. This next update is mostly the fixes. The new factories that we covered tonight, the new fertilizer seed production, fixes for all the train stuff, just tons of little fixes that will be taken care of this time around. We have to go to actually the farm that's over on the other side, so I took a turn too early. But yeah, most of it's just getting all the little bugs out that they're not pressing, but they're just a little sliding all over the place. Little bugs. There are a lot of little things that people have uncovered that were problems that we fixed. And hopefully if this works, if this test works, we'll duplicate this fuel production and put it on all the farms that have silage so that you'll be able to create fuel right from your farms as well. That's the plan anyway. We'll know in a minute. Is ability to pick up using the conveyors fixed? No, it is not. That is one thing that we have not figured out why it's broken. Uh, Somebody told me that Giants broke it in their last update. I don't know if it works on the default map with the very latest update or not. So I'm not sure. That's for the ones over at the BGA. The new fabric scripts are installed with the new triggers, so that's pretty cool. Will this update include a better map to see where you go? No, it will not because it's not finished, and to do a better map would take several hours, and uh, unless somebody wants to create one, if you guys want to create, yeah, I wouldn't have time to get it for Thursday. But the thing is, the map's going to be changing hopefully a lot in the near future with additional buildings and stuff, and that's going to change the map. And to do a really good map is very time consuming. And to do it, it's just one of those things. To do it now and then have to redo it all later makes no sense to me. When I if I, To do a really good high quality map, you're talking several hours, and that can definitely to do something that takes several hours that is just going to disappear doesn't seem like it'd be a good use of time right now. So we get in the unload trigger. That's a good sign. And if we unload into our, I'm not going to unload it all, but we'll get a good chunk of it in there. All right. because I'm going to dump some on the ground and see if we can pick it up with a shovel as well and dump it in. We got to test everything on this thing. So let's dump some on the ground here. All right. Now we can go over here. And you can see we dumped in 25,000 into our Silo King. It isn't processing yet. It's working on the fabric script. So if we fast forward just a little bit, it'll kick in. All right, that number's going down as it's processing our fuel. This here should have our fuel total on it, which it does. 1,333 fuel ready to be picked up. And I think we're going to just make a fuel tank somewhere and put that other trigger next to it with that other display. But before we do that, let's grab... Do they have a bucket loader up on this farm somewhere? I got to test and see if that tip trigger works with the front loader. I don't know what we have on this farm. I might just buy one if I don't see it here. It could be anywhere. I think just about every farm has one though. Ah, it's right in front of me with forks. Oh, it's a yeah. Let's give this a whirl. That should work. Pick some of this up, or maybe not. It does pick this stuff up. Silage, right? Yeah. There we go. I don't need a ton. I just need enough to test it with for now. So we'll bring this over, and if we could dump this in and watch that number go up, then we know that part's working too. There it goes. And I missed a little bit. So that can happen. I dumped a little bit on the ground. So, but it did go up. Definitely did go up. You want to make sure you get over the top of that thing. Otherwise, you'll get a mess. But you can clean it up. Look at that. That works. So next up on the list is one more thing. I do know that if all is still correct, we're in the trigger right here, and you cannot refill a tractor with it yet. That is one thing I wish we could do, but there's no fuel fill trigger. So you will need to on the farms have one of these doohickeys, a fuel tanker. Let's see if there's any room in this fuel tanker. Let's see if I can hook it onto the weight. Nope, not that one. All right, let's drop that back weight. Can we include a link to the modded conveyor? Big Daddy has the links to the mods on his site this time around. I will check with him and get the link for it. Yeah, we'll get that. And if there's any other things that we can get up before Thursday's show, we'll do that as well. So we have room for fuel. So basically, wherever we put this, you're going to have to bring this over and load your fuel in just like so. So yeah, we can now create fuel on the farm. And it won't take much to create it. But there you go. We'll just have to fix that up and do it for the other farms that have BGAs on them. And then we will... I gotta find some type of fuel tank. and that part will be done. And then I'll show you guys what you have to do with a fabric script mod once we get all the pieces together. So what I'm going to do next is exit this game with get it done. All right. So I know that I steal everything from Andre's map. He had a fuel tank, I think, on there. So let's jump into his map. I still want to get him to finish this up for you guys because it's a pretty cool map. He's done a lot with it, but he's been busy working lately, so he hasn't finished it up exactly how he wants. But we're going to open it up and see if I can grab a fuel tank out of it. Did he update the palletizer to do fertilizer? Not yet. He did not. I'm going to have to give him a swift. He's listening. I think he's listening. Although he might not be anymore. All right, let's see. Did he have a fuel tank on any of these farms? I thought he did bring one in somewhere. Let me see if I can find a fuel tank somewhere for... Why did I think he had a fuel tank? And where? Maybe down by the cows? Maybe. Yeah, we can use this one right here. This gas station. And I'm going to file, export that selection with files into my models. Yeah, we can put it right in the same folder as the fuel refinery because it's going to be like a part of that anyway. And then jump back over to my map and let's think about where we want to put this thing. I think we should be able to put it right over here. Let's see. Gas station. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it into the same group, which we'll grab it. I'm going to cut that. And I'm going to paste it into my refinery group so that when we make duplicates of this thing for the other farms, we have it all together. All right, now we'll bring the gas station over to here. All right, now you see there's a trigger on this. We don't want that trigger because it is a fuel fill up trigger, one of those ones that are just like at the gas station. The you pay for fuel. So we're going to make sure we have the tank, but we don't want this trigger box. And if we highlight just the trigger box, hopefully, there you see it's got the gas station trigger. which has gas station on create. We're going to get rid of that completely. Because we have, and thank you there, Rotheart11 for the follow. We have over here, this one here, which we will spin it around and put in front of our gas station now. And we'll grab our display, our whole entire display here, if we can. Shouldn't be too difficult, I hope. Display. Thank you, Poth3AD80 for the follow as well. All right, so we have the display with the numbers and everything all highlighted. We're going to bring that over and stick it right over here somewhere. And it's kind of floating, or sometimes it doesn't exactly go where you want it to go, but we're going to move it into place. And we'll spin it around so it's facing the right, whoops, not 900. Well, let's see, we want to go to, let's try 0. There we go. We'll give a display. You could literally take the numbers off and put them on the side of the tank or something, but I'm going to just leave the stick right there with our fuel display. And that is all connected together. You have a place to refuel your tanker on your farm. And what we got to do once you have everything done, the only thing you really have to remember about the fabric script stuff, everything for this refinery is in this folder for a reason, but if you wanted to duplicate it, it just has to have a different name to the top folder, the very top refinery. So we're going to Control D to duplicate this whole mess. And you see we have a second one there. I'm going to just change the second one to refinery and put a 2 after it. So we have refinery, refinery 2, and then I'm going to take that duplicate and move it over to one of the other farms. We'll reposition the different pieces where we need to, so it looks good over there. But each of the farms that has a BGA and creates silage is going to have, and we gotta, yeah, I gotta get, oh, this one has the tank right where it was going to be, so let's bring that over. The whole thing with the fuel setup, everything is right here. We're going to move some things, but we're definitely going to move this out of here. Come on, get the right one. All right, delete that one. Do I have the fuel sale trigger? You could sell your fuel to the gas stations. No, not currently. No fuel sale trigger this time around. Uh, we'll look into adding something. See, the gas stations would have. We might make those. That would be a good idea, though, to make those into sell points for fuel rather than refueling there, because we'll be able to create so much fuel on the farms. That would be a pretty cool idea. Maybe. Let me mark that on my pad here. Fuel sales at gas stations, because you will be able to make a lot of fuel. That's for sure. And that would make some sense to get some extra cash for your excess fuel. So I'm just going to slide this one right where the other one was, kind of center it up a little bit. and grab our tank. Not that, this tank. Where is it? Gas station. Gas station, please. Get that part first. And find a home for our gas station on this farm. Whoa, zoomed right out. I'm thinking, I'm thinking, I don't mind, let's see if I can bring it over here. And spin it around a little bit. We'll set that back in the grass out of the way. And we have the trigger on the ground here somewhere. And the display. We can find those by just going to output liquid trigger. Actually, if we grab the whole output one group, we'll grab the display with it. We should. Then we can move it all at once. Now the big thing is how far, alright, not too bad. How far away is the little marker, because sometimes that can get crazy. Now we do have a couple pieces underground, but that shouldn't be an issue. We'll bring that over. And there's farm number 2's setup. So you'll be able to create your own fuel at that farm. Let's go back to this one over here. Let's see, it's 10 o'clock, so I'm just going to go over here, finish up this mess, because, and this is one of those things, you guys, when you do the update next week, this one shouldn't be too hard though, because I'm just going to add a little bit more of the, I'm removing the grass. You'll be able to use your roller to take that out, no problem. And let me add in some gravel over here. I'm going to replace with gravel, please. And make it a little smaller. Here, let me go to add. Add will kind of let me work in the weird edge a little bit here. Just so you can pull off there and fill it in. So you'll have some grass here. You'll just run that roller across in front of there and you should be fine with that farm as well. And basically, as long as I keep going and recreating these and adding it, so each of these refineries has a different number, we'll be able to add one to each of these farms, which there's, I think, 4 or 5 of them that will be able to create fuel. I'll bring another one over. I'm grabbing this one because they're closer together than the one I just did. We'll name this one 3. And I'm gonna, after number 3, we'll test it out and we'll probably call it for tonight because we're getting repetitive. But let's bring number 3 over to the farm on the other side of the map. What do we have left? We're gonna put one on this farm down here. That one actually can go in. Yeah, we'll put 3 over here. And yeah, I probably should have grabbed the other one. That's probably, we're gonna have to move the tank again as well, but it is what it is. I'm just gonna bring it back. Try to square it up a little bit. And grab the tank. Waiting, 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 waiting. All right. Let's go over here. And we can stick it right over here. If you're new to this, it's left control B and then click with the object selected is what brings it right over to where you need to put it. I'm going to bring this one kind of right in the middle here, bring it out, go back up to my output trigger, output 1, bring that over in front as well. Or you can just spin it around and slide it around by using the arrows. Bring the display over. It's underground a little bit. There we go. Slide it back. That looks pretty good. So number 3 is set up. We'll duplicate number 3 and bring it up to the 4th farm. I think that's the only 4 that are getting fuel making capability. We could put one at the main BGA too. But we'll put number 4 in. At my farm. Gotta have it one up on the farm that I run for sure. No, not there. You drive through there all the time. Well, you're not anymore. Ever thought of using the one that you could drive back? You could drive with this one here. You can drive a trailer up to it as well. It's made that way. All right. It does have the trigger. You could see it there. This one's backwards. No. But it does have a trigger. You can drive right up to this one and dump from a trailer if you want to. Or you can use a shovel into it if you want to do it that way. Can I make the capacity of the silos bigger? You mean we already discussed that earlier. We're gonna leave them where they are currently. In single player, they're upgradable, and we're gonna wait and see if Giants actually fixes the bug where they're not working on servers before we go ahead and do that. And hopefully they will. And if they don't, we'll do something about it later on. But let's at least wait till they do one more update because they have to know they have several issues right now with the game that need to be fixed. Where do I want to put this fuel tank? I guess we can bring this one. Whoops. I want to bring the whole group. Yeah, you can use the placeables on single player to upgrade. In multiplayer, they're not working. Currently, as far as I know, I have never actually tested it myself. I'm too busy making the map, but from what I hear, they don't work correctly in multiplayer, and that would be a Giants issue. If it's something they can't fix, then we'll look into doing. But they made it so that those silos can be upgraded for a reason, and to just make huge silos so you don't have to use that to me seems kind of pointless. Let's see. So we're gonna wait and see what they do. Basically, we can make some silo extensions that are larger, so you can buy bigger ones down the road. But right now, it's let's wait and see what Giants does to fix their issues, and if they never fix it, we'll have to do something. I'm gonna put that pump over here. I just deselected my group, which happens. Yeah, that's a server issue. It can it can make things disappear on a server or multiplayer games, but yeah, that shouldn't happen. Giants knows about it, I'm pretty sure. And if they don't fix it, then they ought to be ashamed of themselves. I try not to do stuff to work around bugs. That's really I mean, they really need to get the bugs fixed, not work around the bugs and do fixes and then have them go back and fix the bugs, and then we just have to dismantle everything we just did because actually the system would work nicer if we could use all those placeables for upgrading stuff. But if down the road it looks like they're never going to get around to it, then we'll definitely have to do something, unfortunately. But we have so many things that we can do right now that we'll keep adding in. I want to get actually the next project after I get back is going to be working on the seed and fertilizer dispensers for your farms. We'll work on probably a placeable fabric script model so you can put them wherever you want. So basically seed and fertilizer silos. If you remember back to PV15 version 2, we had those ones with the gauges on them that had a slight delay in filling up, but it would fill up on the farm. The reason why that slight delay was there is because it worked on the fabric script and it had to cycle through one, but it did like 10,000 at a time of whatever the product was. So we have all those features as well as a digital display that will be able to turn this into we'll be able to make some seed and fertilizer silos. I'd like them to be placeable so you can put them wherever you want, but they'll be fabric script related. But they'll also have the ability to fill directly from them like we can with the big. Basically, it's taking that building where we're creating it, but rather than creating it, we're going to use the same triggers and stuff, but on a silo that allows you to put in fertilizer and take it right back out after it cycles through once. That's the goal, and then you'll have a nice silo that works with the additional features of the digital display and loading from it that you can put on your farms to load your fertilizer and basically we could use one for liquid fertilizer too on the farm. But that's going to take a little while to work through. So after this update, we'll work on that. But if I do it as a placeable, I can release it to you guys without doing a map update as well. And then you can put them wherever you want. So that's the plan when I get back. But for now, we're going to get this on our server very soon and test it all out. I'm going to jump in right now and make sure that we don't have any major errors before we close the show out tonight. We're going to run this one more time. We should have all of them working. And I might have errors. I didn't check last time, but we'll find out. If there are any errors, it wasn't affecting the working of the fuel. It would probably just be a minor thing that I can fix. Is there a way can make it possible to include trains into the vehicle switcher mod? Not myself. I don't know. I'm not a script writer. That would have to be the person that created the vehicle switcher mod. I don't know how they did disclude them. It'd be kind of cool if you could, though, wouldn't it? Be able to put the trains. The trains should at least have their own special group. I might add another one of these, or one or two of these later on. But let's jump in to where is the last truck that I had? It's right here will work. We can take this one. And whose farm am I on? That is the question. I don't know where I am. Oh, we just got ahead. I'm at the neighbor's. We're going to head up the road. We're going to test number 4, the one that's right on the farm, because if 4 works, then all of them are going to work. But we'll then check the error log and make sure we're not getting anything kind of silly in there that might be throwing up some errors. And then we'll be close to having this thing finished up. All right, here's a tip for you. Unless you're a Steam player, then this doesn't work. If you're on Steam, it kind of you can remap it, but currently to get to the train, if you use Shift Tab, it usually goes to the trains right away or whatever you just recently bought at the store. So if you didn't recently buy something at the store, it will go right to the last train. Using the Shift tab, it steps backwards through everything, and you'll get there a lot faster. So that should be able to help you. Just jump out of a vehicle and then hit the Shift tab key, and you'll go backwards through vehicles, and you'll get to the trains first rather than last. You might have stuff in the store parking lot that you'll hit first, or something that you bought since you last saved the game. But right after that stuff will come the trains. We'll get you there a lot faster. There's a train right there. See, we have the mod. I don't know, you guys have tried it, the one that makes the trains go by themselves, so we kind of always have a little bit of action going on the map. You can see the train driving around. Nobody else is on here. This is offline, but the trains move around by themselves. It's kind of a cool feature if you have a good enough CPU to do it. The train's driving. auto train or whatever it is, they just go around in circles, and then you can stop them on your own and restart them. And you can even set the speed you want them to travel at. That should be good. Let's test this one out here. Make some fuel on this farm. There it goes. See, so these here you can back right up to, or you can use a shovel. And you just need, currently you won't be able to, I'd love it eventually to be able to pull a, if we ever get a trigger, we'll be able to pull vehicles up here to refuel. But right now, we can't. If I fast forward time though, you can see it creates fuel pretty fast. There, just a few minutes down the road, we have 1,000 plus fuel. That one looks good. Still plenty to process, and it'll just keep going in on the minute. So we could now pull over a fuel tanker and fill it up. I don't know if there's one over here. But if there isn't, yeah, you can buy them at the store. Fill it up right on your farm. And we'll look into also down the road after my last holiday break here, getting triggers on the farms. That stuff can always be done down the road. I don't know. Anyway, let's check the error log out and see what we have. Anything appearing. I might have a couple small ones for mods or stuff, but for the most part, we should be. There's all the fabric script, and you can see right here in those lines, right, the fabric script, why they have to be named differently. If they were named the same, then it would throw an error as a duplicate ID. So that's why we have refinery one, well, refinery and refinery 2, 3, and 4 listed. And as you'll see the same thing with seeds and seeds 2, fertilizer, fertilizer 2. All those items right there are all running on the fabric script in the map. And our additional fruit type registering is in there. So yeah, we're pretty good. No additional crazy errors. We still have that stupid, yeah, warning. And zip mods can only be used in multiplayer and a few mod things, but the teleport in yeah, I'm running the universal so yeah, my warnings aren't even really warnings. I know the universal process kit doesn't work. That's why you guys don't have it, but I keep testing it and hoping I can get something working, and no such luck yet. But there we have 4 of the refineries in that you can now create fuel right on your farms. Yeah, it's very early in the map development stages, but we'll be able to do a lot. I can't wait to make silos that have the displays on them to tell you how much is in them for the fertilizer and seed dispensers, and we'll make one for liquid fertilizer as well. That'll be my project after we get back, but from now till Thursday, we're going to get this up on the server. I'm going to start polishing up a few things tomorrow morning and pop it up there, and Thursday when you come around, we'll get it out to you guys. Sound like a deal? We'll give you an update, and you won't have to restart your save games. So I think we're going to call it a night for tonight. Thanks for everybody for stopping by. Thank you to all the new followers. And I think I missed Arnie's09 and Poth, yeah, POTH3AD80. And Rothhard11, Smoking Taco, all the new followers. I am Groot. I think we got that. Those white bins are currently what we're using to hold seed and fertilizer. It's a placeable, but it's not able to fill with from there. Uh, it's just like a regular farm silo. It's a placeable, and it has its issues. And what I'm going to make is going to be a heck of a lot better when we get back. So, with the actual ability to fill from them and everything and the digital counters on them. So, we'll be ready to do that in a week or so. It won't be long before we get that placeable out to you. Once I finish this up, going away for the weekend. So, we'll do a show on Thursday, 8 p.m. Get you guys this update. I'll be gone from Friday to, I think I won't be back till late Sunday or Monday, but I should be back in time for Monday's show. And the thing is, I don't know if I'll get a chance to do anything because I'll be away. So next week, though, by the end of next week, we'll have that placeable out for you guys for the silos as well. No problem. Anytime I could help, we will be back. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you on Thursday. Have a great night.